Hi, I'm Mike.
And I'm Larry.
Welcome to Manopause,
a podcast dedicated to men over 50.
Brought to you by Manopause.com. Hi, guys. Mike and Larry here. And boy, do we have a great podcast for you today.
Oh, yeah. But first, listen to this.
Sitting cross-legged on the floor, 25 or 6 to 4.
Who was that, Mike?
Oh, Chicago, of course.
Au contraire, my friend. That was a band called Leonid and Friends that I found on YouTube when I was looking at some music videos. And these guys are amazing. They're from Russia. They do cover songs. They started with Chicago. They branched out to a bunch of other ones that you're going to hear us talk about on the podcast. Mike was unbelievably excited when he heard about them.
Yeah, these guys have blown up all over the world. They have millions and millions of followers. And so we were lucky enough to get Leonid and his son Roman on our podcast. So just stay tuned and listen to this.
And keep in mind that this dream of Leonid started when he hit 60. So he's a true Manopause man. So enjoy. Hi, I'm Larry, and that's Mike. And today we're here with a very special couple of guys from Russia. One is Leonid Vorobyev and his son Roman. And
Hello.
Leonid has a fascinating story. It turns out I found him and his group on YouTube when I was just surfing for some music. And I started listening, and he started a band that does unbelievable covers of great bands from the 60s and 70s. And they started by doing Chicago covers. And if you don't look at the screen and you listen to the music, you would absolutely swear that it's Chicago.
Absolutely.
And so in reviewing his history, it turns out that this is something that he started a little later in life as just a pet project. And as we know, for our Manopause crowd, we're all looking for things to inspire us as we're getting older. So I want to welcome you guys to our podcast. And I want to start, Leonid, with a song that I think defines what Manopause.com is all about. It's a song you wrote called Midlife Crisis. And I just took some of the words off of the screen from your website. And it says, "Nothing makes me happy at all. I forgot how to love. I forgot how to cry. Don't even know how to deal with heartbreak anymore. I want to strain at the leash and fall madly in love, dive into the abyss and soar through the sky. I don't care anymore that I don't know who I am. I'm just looking to cure the boredom."
Yeah.
Wow.
Wow.
When did you write that, and what inspired you to write that?
Oh, maybe about 20 years ago.
Wow.
20 years ago.
What was happening in your life?
You were still young back then.
Yeah.
What was going on in your life that inspired you to write that?
That was just ordinary life without any good or bad moments. It was just life with some boredom and down. And I was walking to my studio, and some lines of lyrics came from my head, and very interesting.
So,
wow. I mean, we all go through that in the 40s. I think that's the beginning of menopause. I know we always say it's over 50, but you know what? I think in the 40s it starts, and that's what happened to you. Is you started, getting bored with life, and things change, right? I mean, you were creating music during that time. So tell us about that.
Вот в тот период, что началось, когда тебе было вот за 40, эти песни пошли, что тебя вдохновляло?
Yeah, I just Music is the main thing in my life, you know, and music is a thing that saved me. Music is a thing that supported me all my life, and only music, nothing else.
So,
There was, you know, perestroika in the Soviet Union,
Yeah.
was broken, and life was changed dramatically. And a lot of my friends lost their job, their work, their life changed, and my life was not so stable. But I had music, great music.
and so what inspired you to a little bit later, I guess you were in your 50s, when you started thinking about putting together this band to start playing Chicago? And my understanding is that there was no sheet music for you to use, that you had to listen to the songs and sort of transcribe for each instrument the musical score so that your friends could play that. What made you decide to do that?
Как началось?
You know, it was, I have to say that back in the 60s and 70s in the USSR, you could not find any scores for Western music, and no scores. And you had to listen to by ear and transcribe every line, every part. And my skills was
Developing.
and developing, yes,
In
and
that time.
that time. But when I reached 60, that was my 60th birthday, and I was jogging in the park in the morning, and I thought many times some of my fellows told me that, oh, when I get retired, I will change my life. I will do only fishing. I will only do gardening, for example.
Yeah.
But I didn't want to change my life because I had my favorite work in the studio as an sound engineer and arranger and sound producer. I didn't want to change my life, but I decided to celebrate some special way my 60th birthday, you know. And I remember the song that I sang when I was young. But my band, I played, we had no trumpet, no trombone, only saxophone. And that was not really good. But now, yes, I had a lot of friends, good musicians. And I called them, and I knew they wouldn't refuse me a favor because I helped them many times before. Yes, and I called them, and they say, okay, great, okay. And we recorded one song, Brand New Love Affair, and I put it on YouTube, and I was sure American audience, especially Chicago fans, would hate us. Oh, those Russians. Poor hell they think they are, I know.
Wish I knew what was going wrong. Seems so very long since we left together. It's no good to be all alone when you've hurt a friend and you both feel empty. What I'd give to erase the pain. Will we ever make the grade? Is it over or shall we try again? For a brand new love affair.
Weeks later, it was already on Chicago's official website, and
Wow.
Well, it might have been true that they would have hated it.
That's amazing. And first of all, we would not even know where you came from.
Yeah, I mean, they might have hated it had you sucked, but you didn't. I mean, you were so good. I mean, even your voice sounded like the Chicago singers that I think people were just floored. And then the quality of the video was so good too. It's so crystal clear, and the editing of it was so good that I mean, I was just totally.
Oh, yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, it was amazing.
So you put this incredible band together. I mean, there's 10 or 11 people in your band. Tell us
Yes.
about
Yeah.
your band.
11 у вас сейчас.
Now it's 10. Now it's 10.
Mhm.
It kind of rotates a little too, right? You have some guys that are in and then they're not because they're busy with other things.
Чуть-чуть это.
Yeah, there was a moment when everyone has had their own job, and everyone was busy.
It was like their side project, basically.
Yes,
Right.
it was like a studio project without any expectation, without any calculation, just maybe enjoy for ourselves.
Yeah.
And they agreed to record first song without any enthusiasm. Just like I asked them.
Right.
But after a huge, a lot of compliments, a lot of acknowledgements to everyone of musicians. I remember maybe trumpet said, maybe one more.
As I was walking down the street one day, a man came up to me and asked me what the time was. That was on my watch, yeah. And I said, does anybody really know what time it is? Does anybody really care? If so, I can't imagine why. We've all got time enough to cry.
How is your response in Russia? Has there been a response to your music there?
Как в России на это все отреагировали?
Oh, first of all, it was. It has no purpose, guy. Fellow, это не имеет цели, как
They thought there was no future for it. Any of his fellows in the music industry here, they're
yes, but
you know.
I didn't care about it, about that, and I didn't listen to them because I did it for myself.
Right.
I just did it for myself to, как сказать, развлечь себя, to entertain myself,
Right.
to make my life more colorful, And when you work with many other famous Russian singers and bands, you work just a sound producer, like a professional.
Mhm.
And every time you try to make love with their music,
Right.
And sometimes you try too hard. But that music of Chicago was my favorite music, and I had no push to myself to make it. I just did it for my pleasure.
Well, I'm talking about here in the United States, and we'll talk about your tour here in a minute. But here in the United States, I think the response has been really big, because, especially among our age group, 40 and up, that, like I said, Chicago here in the United States back in the 60s and 70s was huge. I mean, they were huge. They were like U2, it was a few years ago. So, but in Russia, now that you've released these videos on YouTube and stuff, are you getting a similar response from an audience in Russia to the music? Do they like it? Do they understand it?
Used to.
Well, you know, we have our audience not so big, not such big like in the USA, but they love us. They are our friends. You know, Chicago was very, very famous group in the USSR between Russian musicians in 70s. Almost every Russian band had such set of musicians, rhythm section and horn section, and 3 or 2 vocalists, and they were very famous amongst Russian musicians. And there was rumors. There were rumors that James Pankow was ex-Russian in his yes.
Yeah.
I had so interesting moment when I visited Bulgaria in '85. I met with local musicians, and we had
In a pub.
yes, and we made a
Jam
jam session and Russian vodka and Bulgarian rakia and blah blah blah. And one moment I said, "Wow, you know, James Pankov from Russians in his past. Oh, he is Bulgarian. Pankov is a Bulgarian surname. Oh no, he is Russian. We just not fighting." But lately it was no, he is not Bulgarian, no Russian. But we were sure.
Of course, yeah. So then it grew to the point where you guys decided to try and do a tour in the United States, and of course you did, and that apparently was huge. You had sellouts pretty much everywhere you went, enthusiastic crowds everywhere. How was that? How did that happen, and how did you react to seeing that kind of response to your music?
He is blame.
I am to blame here. Yeah, well, I joined the project a couple of years ago when I saw that, you know, my dad was making these great products and the audience is there online.
Mm-hmm.
And for a couple of years, Leonid has been getting these messages over Facebook. Okay, guys, so are you going to come and visit us in US and play live maybe? You know, we'll come, you know. Can we fly to Russia maybe to see you? Some started to come here actually, and we got friended with a U.S. embassy here with all the diplomats, because some of them actually found Leonid and Friends back in U.S. and they came to serve here, and then they came to our shows in Moscow. So that was fun. And actually, the former U.S. ambassador in Russia, Mr. John Huntsman, he jammed with us. He's actually a musician. So. Anyway, that idea was developing that we can actually come and perform in America, but we didn't know how it's going to turn out. Like if anybody is going to really show up, and the agencies and the promoters in US, they were also not sure. Are these Russians? Can we trust them? Are they going to actually fly like all these 15 people with equipment and make it here with visas? And then, you know, is it going to be a solid and legitimate thing? So we did our test run. It was the first tour in January 2019. And we thought, okay, we'll just schedule a couple of shows and see how it goes. And it went great. And we've met with Mr. Denny Serafin, who came to the show. We met with
Mr. Robert Clem.
And that was incredible. And from there, we went on to the next tour and the next.
How were you able to book your events, your location?
Oh, that
How did that happen?
that was a whole adventure in itself because yeah, I'm pretty good in communication. I guess I came handy. And actually, our fans have been helping us in making
Yes.
that. Some of our friends and fans in America, they were talking it up with people they knew at the local venues, different promoters, and telling them, you got to see these Leonid Friends, got to get them here. Yeah, there was a funny guy. There was a teenager, 15-year-old, who found us on YouTube.
Drummer.
He's a good drumming kid. He's a really cool kid, and he's from Chicago area. And he talked to his uncle, who was running a local little venue for live performances. And so they got in touch with us and going like, okay, if you're gonna come, we want to see you here, play with us at this venue. And so it developed, and now, you know, it was helped us a lot to make that first run. So it's all, you know, thanks to our fans.
Yeah.
Well, right, because you're booked all over the place. I mean, you're booked in many different states, and Vegas. I mean, you're playing Vegas.
Vegas, baby.
Is that going to be your first event in Vegas, or is this your second?
Well, no, it's actually going to be already the third time.
Third
time around.
Wow.
Yeah. We've traveled all across U.S. We've had absolute pleasure, absolute honor to be able to do it from East Coast to West, from North to South. We've seen most of the major cities. So beautiful, incredible people. I mean, we love our American friends. And
that was a dream of my life, to drive across the USA, and now
With the up down, right?
yeah.
Convertible.
Do you get on a tour bus? Do you get a bus, tour bus?
We actually, the way we did it, we rented 4 cars, 1 pickup truck for luggage and equipment, and 3 minivans, and we all fit in, and we're all nice, good family.
Yes.
You know, we get tired of each other once in a while on the road.
You know,
we have lots of funny stories on the
You
road,
know-
of course.
You know what's going to be funny is, you know, a couple of years from now, you're going to be on a humongous tour bus with your pictures on it, traveling across the U.S., and we can say they started in a pickup truck.
Yeah,
now
exactly.
they're That's
But
awesome.
you know, the roads in America compared to Russian roads, you guys have just, you know, a dreamland. So we can drive all year long, you know, and enjoy it. So yeah, we joke at the shows that by now I think we've seen more America than some of Americans have, right? And
Probably
That's true. That is 100% true.
So now you guys,
right, and yeah.
you guys were also going to be going, I think, to Australia and New Zealand and some of the other places. How has COVID right now, worldwide for you guys, affected your ability to tour?
This is a problem because we had to cancel our summer tour, and I think our autumn fall tour is под угрозой.
Under question, obviously.
Yeah.
How things
But
are
we really hope for the next spring and next summer, and we believe everything will be okay.
Yeah, we
Right.
do too.
I think so too. Hopefully we'll have a vaccine by then, and it'll be a lot easier for you guys to do that. Matter of fact, you know, Manopause.com, our plan before COVID hit is we're planning a bunch of events, everything from photography events with volleyball players and things like that, to wine tours and all that. As we plan these events, I mean, I can definitely see you guys being one of the stars of one of the events that we plan, where you guys would be the stars of play for everybody who's come to the event. So we're going to keep that in our back pocket for the spring, summer of next year. So what's ahead for you guys? We know, as Mike said, that you're starting to branch out. Earth, Wind, and Fire, Deep Purple, Blood, Sweat, and Tears, all groups that, again, that we just absolutely love.
have one question. Steely Dan.
Yeah.
Okay, so Steely Dan is one of our absolutely favorite.
Every
group
every
all
time they come to town, we go to their concert.
We probably been together. We've gone to about 10
Yeah.
of their concerts, at least 10. Now they have horns, and there's they play a lot of horns, so that's right up your alley. How about Steely Dan?
I can say secretly, we have Steely Dan in our plan.
Yes. Ah, right. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Now the interesting thing is that a lot of music. I mean, from the '70s to now, the bands or the musicians that are musicians like you guys, their music is complex. It's not 3 chords and singing.
Yes.
It's very complex music, and I think that's why people continue to love the songs, because each time you listen, you hear something different. And I think that's the situation with Steely Dan. Like I said, Mike and I love them. The first time I saw them was in 1973 at a local college when they were a touring band, right?
Wow.
But their chords and the stories they tell are very complex. And I think that's what you got, especially, you, Leonid, being a musician from day one. Is that what you're looking at? You're looking at these complex arrangements. Is that what draws you in?
A challenge.
Yes, challenge. Yes.
Now,
No, you are lucky guys. You are lucky folk. But I never heard or saw my favorite bands alive. I didn't have such opportunity in the Soviet Union. That was only my dream. That was like on other planet,
right.
on Mars maybe,
Right.
Chicago. And I didn't, я не мог представить, что когда-нибудь с Робертом Лэмом.
He couldn't even imagine meeting in person somebody like Robert Lamb.
And when I hugged with him, that was the moment my knees
Shaking. Yeah. I just want to add in, and if you guys are interested to hear this, but to understand Leonid and his passion for music and how it all happened, you maybe have to understand that little touch of background, because back in 60s and 70s, it was really behind the Iron Curtain. And I'm lucky I didn't live there, but I definitely heard about it. And just to give you a little sample, like we tell this story on the concert, but how did, the first ever guitar that Leonid played, how did he even get a hold of the first guitar in his life?
Handmade, only handmade.
Wow.
There were no electric guitars available in the Soviet shops, in the Soviet stores, And I read some article in the magazine for youth, how to make an electric guitar. And they suggested to make a pickups, to use a old phones set,
Telephone set,
telephone sets, old, and magnetic bands, magnetic coils in it. And when I came out to look at, and every telephone booth was cut, every handset was cut in my whole area. Wow.
That's hilarious.
And I understand that, I get it, that I was late.
Yeah, he was the last one in town who read the magazine, basically.
Я не стал криминалом.
Yeah, so that saved him from just being a criminal musician at that time, But that's what it took,
Our work doing it that way.
I found another way to make a magnetic band, magnetic coil with a just a moment.
Yeah, hold on.
And I made my first guitar, and no bass strings at all. And I used from Russian folk domra, bass domra. Boom, boom, boom. That was very hard, but I had.
Yeah. Wow. That's amazing.
Yeah. So it was quite a tough time.
So Larry, you play the guitar, right, Larry?
Yeah. Well.
Sorry, Larry, you play the guitar, right?
Yeah.
I played bass all my life. I played bass because I played guitar, but I had no good bass player in my band. And, my parents insisted that I have to have a good education. And I entered in the polytechnical college in my town. And when with my thoughts, I knew that there are musical set of instruments in polytechnical college, electric guitars and drums and keyboard. But senior undergrads didn't let me
Play with them.
Play with them. And after 1 year of my training, I left from the institute and I found one railroad depot outside of town. And the musical instruments, the guys who played them before, they went to army. And instruments were free. And every morning I went to my college, but actually I went to the railroad depot. And the whole day I was transcribing by ear every part, on bass, on guitar, on keyboards and drums. And in the evening, my guys came in, and I showed every of them what to play, how to play it. And a couple of months later, we have a more or less good sounding. Wow. But my mother,
so his mom eventually met one of the professors at the college. So,
what is our song? How is it? Oh, he's absent almost 2 months. That was bing.
Yeah.
Oh my God, that's hilarious. Yeah. So the ability to hear those notes, again, only real musicians, I think, can do that. And how difficult is that to even know like what key they're in? Do you have to like tap it on a piano to find out what key the song? How do you do that?
I don't know. I have, у меня есть образование хорового дирижера.
So he also got, later on, he got a choir conductor, educated as a choir
conductor. And I know the music theory and harmony, and I have trained ear, because from the railroad depot, I started to
develop them.
Wow. No scores at all.
So what was the first guitar that you were able to buy?
My first guitar, there was a Bulgarian Orphei bass guitar. They was similar to Paul McCartney Hofner.
Oh, yeah.
That was my dream.
Beatle bass, yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Let me ask you something. So we have a lot of bands that still tour to this day. I mean, Steely Dan is one of them.
Yeah.
America, not Black Sabbath. Ozzy Osbourne on occasion, right? But what happens is they lose their voice, and the older guys, they still want to play, but they've lost their voice. And so what Steely Dan has done is they've added singers in their band to really enhance the sound. And what you guys bring is a brand new, fresh look at those bands, and the sound is so incredible. And it's so smart what you're doing, because we miss the old bands, the original bands, and you can never get that back. And what you guys are bringing is you're bringing it back to us, and the sounds are just absolutely incredible.
Yeah.
So thank you for doing that.
Yeah. If you hear Robert Lamb sing, I mean, as good as he was, naturally he's like 70 or something now. His voice is kind of weak, as you would expect to happen over time. And so that's like Mike was saying, you seem to pick the right singer for the right song. Like one guy will sound like Terry Kath, and the other one sounds like Robert Lamb, you know, and the other one sounds like Peter Cetera, like Sergey or Serge. He sounds like Peter Cetera when he sings.
That was the most tough task, to find someone with a voice similar to Peter Cetera, because Peter Cetera has a unique range and a unique quality of voice.
Yeah.
And we went through several candidates here in Moscow, but no one could fit. And for that moment, I had a good and close communication with a web manager of Chicago, Trent Gardner. And he said, well, he made a contest online. And he found Serge, and he sent me his contacts. And he said, "Oh, look at these guys! Listen to him. He's not far for you, Kiev." Right. And we connected, and we started. And from maybe fourth take, I wanted to hear something similar to Peter Cetera, you know.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And now the problem, we want to make an online show, but we have a problem with because of COVID. He's in Kiev, and we are in Moscow. We try to combine it to technically resolve the problem to make an online show. Maybe
late September.
Late September we will overcome.
We'll do an online show. That's the plan. It's going to be awesome.
Yeah. Well, I don't know if you've seen on Facebook, like the Rolling Stones did one, where each guy was in his own house and they managed to play. So I don't know how they do it simultaneously because there is a delay, but they played a couple of songs on Facebook Live. And so the technology's there. You guys just have to learn. That would be amazing.
Very cool.
Yeah. Well, we're going to do it's all going to be in a studio, like most of us together. Right. And Serge is connected from Ukraine. Yeah. And it's going to be the best quality we can get because it's going to be all technically done in the studio live.
And we're trying to resolve these technical questions right now.
Yeah.
We're in a process.
Now, there's a couple other people I want to bring up in the band that I just am sort of drawn to. One is Igor, the drummer. Yeah. That guy is amazing. I mean, it's one thing. It's one thing to just kind of be a good drummer, but he just can play almost any beat well. How did you find him?
I knew them. Был знаком с ним много лет.
Yeah, Leonid knew him for years.
И он переиграл со множеством самых известных русских.
And Igor actually played with like top groups and artists in Russia, right, in his past. So he has a lot of great experience.
He's highly skilled professional, and он bukvalно одержим барабаном.
And he is like obsessed with drums.
I mean, is he our age?
Yeah, Igor is what? How old is he?
61 года, получается. 57.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Nick used to play drums when he was in college, so he definitely appreciates that.
Oh, okay.
He really is amazing. The other guy that I think is probably a good draw for the American crowd is Vasily. He looks like an American tough guy, or he looks like ACDC's lead singer. You know, he's got that gruff voice. Yeah. He's amazing.
Yes,
Did you know him?
Yeah. You know him since a while?
Maybe from 2002, maybe 2001. About 20 years ago, I met him.
Yeah.
And I love him, his voice, and I tried to make him to sing my songs, you know. And he sang a couple of my songs, and I decided I have to use him closer.
He's really
great voice.
You know, you guys, we talked about Chicago. We talked about Deep Purple a little bit. And you just posted one cover on Deep Purple. You got 84,000 views within a week. Why Deep Purple?
Это просто, скажи, шаг в сторону, попытка там, ну, сделать что-то еще.
It's a little sidestep just to do something a little different while we're getting while Leonid is preparing the next Chicago track. But it's also one of the very favorable tracks from the younger years.
Yes.
Oh yeah,
That was
we love
great
Deep
impression to me in '75 when I heard it for the first time. Da 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 da.
What about Led Zeppelin?
Что было Led Zeppelin?
Led Zeppelin, maybe later, but we have so many songs in our plan that
In the pipeline, yeah.
yeah. Maybe
So
later.
what other bands are you going to cover?
You want to know all the insight?
Of course. Tell us first.
Just give
Yeah,
us
right.
one. Just give us one.
Just give us one.
Outside of Chicago?
Yeah.
Yes.
Они хотят знать хотя бы одну, помимо Чикаго, что ты планируешь на будущее.
Grand Funk Rail Road.
What?
What?
Grand Funk Rail
Oh,
Oh yeah.
They were my band when I was in a band in high school. Grand Funk Rail. I saw them in concert twice. I lived in Germany at the time. My dad was affiliated with the armed forces, so I saw them
I love
twice.
them so much.
Oh, they were so good until they got the organ. I didn't like it as much when they got the organ, but it was just the three of them. You know, Mark Farner and what's his name, Brewer, the
Yeah.
Mel Shocker.
But my partner played organ too.
Yeah, yeah. I liked them before the organ. I just liked their, you know, their song. That would be great if you do that. Yeah.
I really hope.
How about the Beach Boys? Any Beach Boys?
No, I don't know about Beach Boys. Maybe later, because Beach Boys, there was, как сказать, это была эра, которая немножко до меня.
The Beach Boys era was a little before the time of Leonid.
Oh, okay.
Right? So it was just a little before his.
But the voices in your group, I mean, really sing the Beach Boys. Really.
Yes.
Great harmony.
Well, you know, they have a track, Wishing You Were Here.
Yes.
Which was a collaboration with Beach Boys.
Right.
Yes.
Right.
And that has those harmonies, and that's what
Beautiful.
they recreated.
Sleepless hours and dreamless nights and faraways. Heaven knows and Lord it shows when I'm away.
Any Kenny Loggins?
Yeah.
Loggins
Maybe.
and Ksenia?
I know.
When I go see Kenny Loggins, as long as
so many great bands in the 70s and 60s area, and Doobie Brothers and a lot.
Yeah.
I cannot.
Yeah.
You know, the Doobie Brothers, that's funny you should say that because they still tour. We just saw them. Larry and I just saw them last year, and they're still great.
Yeah.
They sound great, and they were
really
packing them in.
Yeah. They don't have Michael McDonald tour with them that much anymore, but yeah, you know,
I know.
there's
Yeah, we were gonna, if not for COVID, we would have traveled to Germany and perform at the festival this summer, and we were gonna play on the stage right before Electric Light Orchestra, and that was gonna be our night. But you know, we'll wait till the next year to do that.
Hey, you guys are going to be at the Belly Up. Michael McDonald was just there, not too long.
No way, really?
I went to see him. I sat right next to him, watching him play. He was I mean, outrageous. And so
Michael.
you're gonna be on the same stage.
Yeah, the belly.
And the Rolling
Michael
Stones, by the
McDonald,
way,
one of my favorites.
Yeah.
the Rolling Stones also played at Belly Up.
Oh,
Wow.
Yeah, the belly
That's like-
is a really small venue where
Right.
everybody pretty much is standing up. And it's a small stage, but yeah, it really rocks there. Now, we were talking about
Love it.
harmonies, and we're talking about men over 50. So one of the real attractions, primarily because of the wonderful voice, is Ksenia. Very, very beautiful singer, and I mean her voice is beautiful. The rest, who cares?
Right.
How did you find her?
She originated from one town with me. I was born in Chita, East Siberian town.
They both hail from Siberia.
Yes, and I know her mother and father. And when she came to Moscow, I helped her like a father and mother, grandmother, grandfather for her.
Uh-huh. Well, she's dynamite. Yeah.
And what a resume she has. She apparently speaks 7 languages. She has a master's degree.
Yes.
I mean,
Yes.
she's a star in her own right. Yeah, she's an amazing woman, and the harmonies that she brings to your group is pretty amazing. Now, does she tour with you all the time, or does she have her own thing going on?
Надо сказать, что она очень скромная в противоположность современным девушкам, таким развязанным. Поэтому она вот такая вся домашняя.
Yeah, well, she tours with us, and we have to say, Ksenia is actually, she's a very shy girl, and opposite to the trend right now, where every pop star is like really out there exposing, and so forth.
Literally.
She's more shy, although she's great and beautiful.
Yeah.
So we take care of her like her brothers and sisters, and she tours with us. But she has her own solo career developing as well.
Right.
So
That's great.
we don't want to take up too much of your time, but tell us a little bit about your future plans for the next year or two, both musically and personally.
Besides our Chicago covers and other bands, I have a dream to play a couple of our original songs, but we have a problem with the English lyrics. And I try to find someone who can write appropriate lyrics for these songs, and I will be happy to show our audience our original songs with very, from my viewpoint, very interesting, very maybe unusual, but
Intricate.
Yes.
Nice.
Right. Well, that's great, because it's important that you introduce your own songs as well. And at all the venues that you perform at, you can add your original songs in there. You have a live audience, and if they take to it, the rest is history, right? It'll
Right.
be
Yes.
great.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So that's coming as well. That's going to be great.
And then, Roman,
Yes.
you know how to play the guitar as well?
No, I actually, that's a project I'm gonna take on. Right now that you mentioned that, I gotta catch up on my guitar skills. So,
You know how to sing?
you saw us on. We did this cover for East River, Brecker Brothers.
Yeah.
So far, I was trusted with some clapping and back singing.
La-di-da.
Right, and
Roman.
well, that's the start of my career. Let's
How
see
old
how
are
far
you?
I can get.
Roman, how old are you?
I'm 30.
30.
Yeah.
Married?
We each have daughters.
Nope.
30.
Nope.
Uh-oh.
Yeah.
Look
I'm not
out.
married.
You may be
Yeah,
moving
exactly.
to the United States after all.
Yeah.
You
Right.
on tour here, you may not go back.
Yeah, exactly. Might get roots in there, right?
That's right.
Plant some roots.
That's right. Well,
Right.
anyways,
So-
this has been amazing. We're so thankful that you guys were willing to come on with us, as big a stars as you are. And what we'd like to do
Oh,
is
come on. Bigger stars.
we definitely want to follow up maybe in the next couple of months in terms of maybe doing another podcast, see where you guys are. And then when you do tour here in the States, we definitely want to catch up with you and maybe do some behind the scenes looks for our audience to see how you guys get ready for a show and all that. And then, like I said, when Manopause.com starts their events again, we would love for you guys to be the headliners. We'll figure something out to get you.
Oh, yeah.
I think that would be
That's gonna be fun. That's gonna be fun.
Yeah.
So we wait to meet you guys in person, and anybody who finds us online, we
И когда-нибудь это все закончится.
like while this rough time going, we're gonna be releasing a lot of new videos. So if they just if people just follow us on Facebook and YouTube, they will definitely see stuff coming, and we'll just make this world brighter with music.
Absolutely.
Oh,
So
right.
it's Leonid and Friends on YouTube. What's your website's address? We'll post it on
It's leonidandfriends.band.
Okay.
It's also, you can find it if you find on Facebook Leonid and Friends. There's a reference to the website. So Facebook, YouTube. I think you type Leonid, it pops up already, because it's now millions and millions searching for it.
So we'll stay in touch. And again, thank you so much. You guys are amazing, and it's so great that father and son can work together like that.
Right.
And we're definitely inspired by your example. So we'll
thank you. It's been fun as well for us to chat with you.
Moment, he is my best friend and my supporter.
That's all.
That's correct.
Yeah. It's
right,
a family affair.
Yeah.
So thanks for joining us, and we'll see you next time.